Hey, Mike, how are you today?
I'm doing very well. How are you?
Good, thank you. Thank you so much for meeting with me today for our March Fireside Chat for DSP. And it's really exciting because you are our first Raventail author to be featured. So I'm really looking forward to this and for our readers to get to know you. So thank you so much for joining me today.
Oh, well, I'm delighted to be here.
Awesome. So why don't we start by telling me a little bit about yourself and how you started writing?
Well, I just over the course of the years of my childhood, I've just always been I've always gravitated to writing and various genres, but I've always been a fan of the creature feature genre. It's just something, we all have our genre that we favor, and that was it for me. I watched a bunch of the old black and white movies, monster movies from the 50s with my dad growing up, and then just fast forward throughout the years, just doing a bunch of jobs, pursuing careers, and not liking a single one of them, and then just always kind of writing was kind of always my escape from the mundaneness of all the stuff I hated doing, and and then finally I was like, overall, after a while, I got published, and then got published again, and got to where I was getting halfway decent at it, and then Raven Tail reached out to me, and then I was like, yeah, sure, why not? And and so I wrote Bloodsuckers first, and I wrote the newest one, Dreadnought, and I was like, yeah, it's a good, easy working relationship, which I like, and that's basically how it happened.
That's great. And speaking of Bloodsuckers and Dreadnought being recently released, congratulations because you've been in the top 100 with that one, which is
Oh, thank you.
awesome. I love a good creature feature as well. I was going to ask you, you sort of answered it, why creature features, but you spoke about movies. I was going
Yeah.
to say, were there specific movies you gravitated towards
Oh
growing up?
gosh. There's not too many I don't like. I guess if the ones I like the most, I've really liked the like Creature from the Black Lagoon and The Thing from Another World. I really like that era of films, and then of course the '80s, the John Carpenter, The Thing, and then of course the Godzilla. I've always loved the Godzilla films. Those are they're monsters, but the kaiju is kind of like in a category in its own, and there's like certain levels. There's like the giant city destroying monsters, and then there's the ones that'll like Jaws that'll pick you off on the beach, and then there's
Right.
the John Carpenter version of The Thing, and then Tremors, and there's not too many I don't like. If there's anything I don't like, it's like the Sharknado era of creature features where I don't mind them being silly, but they're getting to the point where they're too silly and they're too ridiculous, and that's kind of where they've
They definitely took that one a little too far.
yeah,
I can definitely agree with you there.
yeah.
But I don't know. I think it's awesome. I love creature features. I love the movies. I'm new to the books. I'm a new fan, so thank you.
Oh, thank you. You're welcome.
Do you stick to that specific horror genre? Have you dabbled in other
Um,
genres or
I've,
you're
I've, if I ever do, it'll probably have to be under another name, because I've written a couple books that were more in the sci-fi, like action sci-fi, as opposed not that aren't really that are more futuristic sci-fi, and those died right out of the gate. And I think it's because I'm associated now, pretty much
right,
fully
of course.
associated with creature horror, and it's like so I've written a couple that were kind of like post-apocalyptic, but they got released and then they just died. It was just like nobody wanted them, and it was just like, okay, if I ever, unfortunately it's a question of time because I do want to write another stuff, but I've kind of recently come to the realization that if I do, it had to be under a different name, a pseudonym,
Yeah,
because
it makes sense.
because the few times I've tried, it's like they did not sell, and I'm kind of at a point where I can't afford for them to not sell. So
What creature is working. So,
yeah. Oh,
you're
it's my
doing a
favorite
great
genre. So
job.
there are worse problems to have. So
Yep. And speaking of the creature product, tell me a little bit about the newest one, Dreadnought.
well, Dreadnought is about an oversized squid that terrorizes a community. I mean, it's the thing that people always relate to and love. I mean, ever since Jaws, and it's just it's a fictional species. It's not a real thing, but it's one of those instances where the real life science kind of got in the way of the story I wanted to tell. So it's because giant squids, colossal squids, they get big, but not as big as what we might, as Hollywood might has led us to believe.
Right.
They're not actually so big that they would probably, pull down a cargo ship or a Coast Guard cutter or something like that. So it's like, okay, I need to invent something that was that big, and I didn't want to go with the genetic engineering route again. I decided to come up with a fictional extinct species of squid, or that they thought was extinct, and got reawakened by toxic pollution that was being dumped into a deep trench, and so it awakens very ticked off, and decides to take its wrath out on humankind. So
Wow. That's a scary thought.
yeah,
Toxic waste does occur.
yeah, yes it
But
does. Unfortunately, sadly.
I don't want you to give too much away though, because it's an exciting story.
Yeah.
But do you see a potential sequel? What do you see coming next? Something new?
Probably not a sequel. That's a pretty self-contained standalone story. So something new will probably, I'm dabbling with a few different ideas, but there's one that has I don't want to give the title away just yet, but it involves a trio of sharks that I think would be a good story. Killer shark.
I love a good shark story. Not like Sharknado, but
no. This is a little more, somewhat more grounded than that. Yeah, no, like we were saying, not to backtrack too much, but yeah, Sharknado it goes a little into the fantastical for me. I kind of like stories with fairly grounded characters and a straightforward plot, and not to knock fans of that series. It's it has its fans, but I'm not really one of them. So
well, listen, I have an idea. Obviously, this interview is going to be on our YouTube channel, and I invite all of your readers to comment what creature they want to see from you next.
Okay.
And then we can give you the feedback, and maybe it will inspire you.
Okay, there you go. I will look at the answers and see what people say.
Awesome. Well, again, I don't want to take up too much of your time. I know you're a busy guy, 3 kids, you're doing it all. So thank you so much again for sitting down with me.
Yeah, no problem.
And I look forward to talking to you again.
All righty. I appreciate it.
All right. Bye, Mike.
Take it easy. Bye-bye.
Bye.